Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Lots to get through today. Some good, some bad, some disappointing, but you know, who knows what will transpire. But we're going to start off with a bit of news coming out of France. Apparently it's an exclusive. I read it through Sport Witness via Foot Mercato, who in my opinion isn't particularly reliable, but they're talking about Milinkovic-Savic of Lazio and saying that Manchester United see him as the prototype replacement for Paul Pogba if Paul Pogba pushes for a move in the summer. Apparently discussions have already taken place between Manchester United and Lazio for Milinkovic-Savic, and the stumbling block may well be the fee. We're also going to be talking about a Wolves player who's dropped a big verbal hint about coming to Manchester United. It's not from papers, it's from the player themselves. But let's talk about Milinkovic-Savic. I mean, look, straight away what I would say is there's two things on this. One, I'm not trusting the outlet. Two, I think Milinkovic-Savic is a player that Mourinho wanted and Ollie has never shown any interest in. And three, as the article itself says, to be fair, well, the price is going to be prohibitive because Lazio have always wanted a massive payday out of Milinkovic-Savic. For 3 or 4 years now, Milinkovic-Savic has been linked with a move out of Lazio. And I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, we were looking at him, and it's always been price prohibitive. It's always been very, very expensive. So I think that with Milinkovic-Savic, I don't think Solskjaer's looking at this type of player, and I don't think Lazio would sell it at a reasonable price. But, having said that, are Lazio one of these clubs that's going to fall into this wider footballing world transfer market crash? And are Lazio going to have to go, you know what, ideally we want 80 million, but we will take 50. And that could happen. But then you've still got to factor in whether United are interested. On the transfer market, as I mentioned last night, there is going to be a change to that. They're going to make all the contracts that run out at the end of June, like your Angel Gomez's and Ighalo's and people like that, pushed back till the season's finished. And also the transfer market will be moved slightly as well, which I think will be after the season's completed, so maybe August before the transfer window opens. We'll have to wait and see on that. What would Milinkovic-Savic bring to Manchester United? He plays more as a midfielder now. A lot of people think he's an attacking midfielder because he had a really good season a couple of years ago where he scored a lot of goals and got a lot of assists. But he plays a little bit deeper now, which, to be honest with you, you know, look, if I didn't think Solskjaer was interested in him, I would say, look, if Pogba goes, he's not a bad shout. He's only just 25. He feels like he's been around for a long time. He's well over 6 foot. I think he's like 6'3", 6'2". He plays that midfield role well. He's played a lot of games in Italy. He's played a lot of games for his country. Could he come to the Premier League and do well? I think he's at the age where if he's coming to the Premier League, now is the time to do it. He's probably not going to get the move to Real Madrid that he was thinking about a couple of years ago now. So certainly probably ready for a move. Whether he'll stay in Italy or whether he'll come to the Premier League or go to Spain, I don't know. But look, it's a story, and it's a story as a replacement for Pogba that's not Jack Grealish, so I leave it with you there. A little bit on Jadon Sancho as well. This is coming from Germany, Bild, who are relatively reliable. They're saying that Dortmund are looking at Forlan Torres, a player, I believe, I always get mixed up on these countries. I think he plays for Valencia. He is a player that Dortmund are looking at as a replacement for Jadon Sancho. So that's always good news, isn't it, when you hear that? I mean, you know, hopefully Jadon Sancho will be coming to Manchester United. Talking of wide players, interesting, this Wolves player, given an interview yesterday, talking about Manchester United, and said, you know, the normal thing, flattered. It's nice to be linked to clubs like Manchester United. The main thing is that there's a global crisis at the moment, and when we do get back to playing football and we complete the season, me and Wolves can sit down and see what the situation is there. He said the only problem would be that Bruno Fernandes wears the number 18, and so do I, and then he admitted he was joking. I mean, Jota, I've got to say, I'm not a massive fan of Jota, so I don't get excited about Jota coming to United like maybe some of you will. His stats are pretty poor this season. I think he's got 1 assist and he's played quite a lot of games. He's got 6 goals, but they came very, very close together. So, and he plays off the left. So I don't see what Jota would bring to Manchester United. 23. I don't get excited about Jota in Manchester United like some people might do. And you know, I don't think United would be looking at him. So it's interesting that it's the normal United, Wolves link, Portuguese press, etc. But I don't see him being a player that we need. And he can play centrally, but I don't. If it's Adama Traore, I'm getting excited because it's a right-sided player. And even if we bring Sancho in, I still think a backup right-sided player would be useful, because the problem you've got And it's a nice problem to have if you get Sancho. If he gets injured or he has a bad run of form, who's going to play on the right-hand side? We have got no depth. We've got no right-hand side, and we've got no depth on that right-hand side. If you bring Jota in, well, we've got loads of players who can play off the left. So I'm not massively excited about that one, to be honest, but he has spoken about it, and I think we will see more and more of these sort of conversations. We saw Jimenez talking last week about it as well, who I think would be quite an interesting signing for United from Wolves. If I had my choice of 3 players I'd sign from Wolves, probably I'd probably go Ruben Neves first, because I like that sort of midfielder. Jimenez second, Adama Traore third, if we're going to get Sancho, so I'd put him at third with that one. A couple of stories from the Mail, so maybe take them with a pinch of salt, but one's good, one's bad. Jesse Lingard, not interested in a move to Arsenal, wants to stay and fight for his career at United. Hard to comment on this one, because my initial... Well, you've got to go with your initial reaction. My initial reaction to that is, Jesse, you need to leave. Like, you know, I can't see you turning this around. And I know he might listen to that sort of fan opinion and use it as a reason to spur him on. And I get that. And yeah, you know, go for it. But you've had over a year of chances that other people haven't had, whether it's Angel Gomez or whoever. You've had over a year of chances. You've performed very badly. The last time you played well was probably coming up for 2.5 years ago now. This is not your level, blunt. And I know, very, very careful, because there's clearly issues behind the scenes with Jesse, and that's very, very sad. But ultimately, he's a footballer, and Gaza had problems off the pitch, but when he played on the pitch, he still had talent. And Paul Merson had problems, and Tony Adams had problems with addiction and stuff like that. And when they played football, they were still good footballers. I just don't think, and this sounds really harsh even though I'm saying it, I just don't think, regardless of the horrible situation that he might have off the pitch, I don't think he's a very good footballer at this level. And I think if he wants to have a career, he should be looking to go. I think staying at United to prove people wrong is futile. It's like screwing for virginity. You're never going to get it back. It's not going to happen. So I think that Arsenal would be a bad move. I don't really want him to go to Arsenal, because I do see him as a United player and you have a loyalty to that. I don't want him to go to Arsenal, but I think with Riolo is his agent, and maybe he could get a move to Italy or something like that. But I definitely think that this whole let's give Jesse another chance thing, he's had enough chances. I think he's had 1 goal or 1 assist in 15 months. It's not even that I'm always there for second chances, and if somebody said to me he's going to turn it around, I say let's keep him. But I just don't think he's a consistent player anyway. He's never shown any consistency. He showed 2 months of Messi Lingard, and we've been waiting 2.5 years for that to happen again. So he's not a consistent player. Even if he had a run of 3 or 4 games, how long would that last? So, but the big thing for me is, it's nothing to do with anything else. It's to do with the fact that I think he's had his chances. He's had more than enough chances, and now it's somebody else's turn. And I don't think we should be keeping a player because they're determined to turn it around at 27, when we've got plenty of young players coming through who deserve their chance. I think he's had the chance. This is high-end football, and he can never say he wasn't given a chance. And I think Pereira's the same. Let's not focus on Lingard. Let's focus on Pereira. I feel he's had his chance, and others deserve a chance now. Phil Jones, more than enough chances. There's a few players at United that I think now is the time to say, no, you're not having any more chances. We're building a future. We need to build a future. And so, I mean, look, I think Lingard will go in the summer, and I think he needs to go. I think it's best for his career, and it's best for United to give others another opportunity. Mail are also talking about Alexis Sanchez, saying that it's got legs, that he could go to West Ham, and it could be the only opportunity he's got to resurrect his career with David Moyes at West Ham. I mean, imagine being told that. Imagine that. You wake up, you're on lockdown, and your agent rings you and said, this is your only chance to resurrect your career. Go to West Ham and play with David Moyes. Put the phone down, go back to sleep. But look, I whatever about Lingard and Pereira and Jones, I know those players give a shit about Manchester United, and I know they try their best. Their best is just not good enough, and that's just life. I love United, you love United. Put us in a United shirt, we ain't even good enough to clean the dressing room. It's a fact. You've got to be good enough to play for this club. With Alexis Sanchez, it's not even comparable to that. This is a player that's on ridiculous money, that forces a move out of the club, that doesn't want to be at the club, that is actually quite a disruptive element at the club, regardless of whether his personality is that. He is disruptive. He's the best paid player at the club. He offers nothing. I'd love West Ham to take him, and I'd love him to resurrect his career, because I think the further away from Manchester United he is next season, the better we'll be as a club. And, you know, people get on Pogba's back. Pogba's been nothing but professional in a United shirt. He might not be consistent in it, but he is professional. And I think today it marks 2 years since Pogba turned that game around at the Etihad, where we were going to lose and they were going to win the title, and we were 2-0 down at half-time. Sanchez, for me, has done very little in a United shirt. There's no standout moments for me. I mean, he scored a goal at the Emirates, didn't he, when we beat them? But I don't... Maybe I'm missing something with Sanchez. Maybe there was some big moment where he did something, but... Maybe my brain chooses to ignore it, but best paid player definitely in England, and nothing. We've had him two and a bit years now. Yeah, just a total and utter waste of money, to be honest with you. Also, we were talking last night a little bit about Dalot and Spurs. I don't see anything in that. I really don't see anything with regards to Dalot going to Spurs. I think, as I said last night, a bit lazy because Mourinho bought him. So let's put 2 and 2 together. Mourinho might... I mean, look, United might make a brave decision, but what I would say about Dalot is if Spurs came in and said we want to give you 25 million for Dalot, United might go, you know what, I don't really see a long-term future for him. That's a good price, let's sell him. But I think, as I said, United have got a list of things they need to do before they start thinking about letting people like Dalot go. Or even, I'm trying to think of another player that sort of fits in with that. Maybe a Lindelof or someone like that. You know, somebody who's long term you might think aren't good enough, but in the immediate future you've got your Phil Jones, you've got your Jesse Lingard, you've got your Alexis Sanchez, you've got your Andreas Pereira. These are the players that need to be gone before you start thinking about your Dalots and Lindelofs, as far as I'm concerned. But what do I know? What do I know? So lunchtime today, we've got the Flex and Rant show coming up for you. That'll be a live show at 1 o'clock. Loving these sort of 1 o'clock shows we're doing at the moment, the sort of interviews, although Flex and Rants is a regular as well. And I will be doing my call-in tonight at 8 o'clock. We should have done it last night, but we had a bit of big news, didn't we? Which sort of rocked a lot of people. Hopefully Boris is going to be okay. It's a big, big thing. And you know what, I just would say this at the moment as well. We are well into lockdown in the UK, and I'm sure you're into lockdown all around the world as well. And I think I started this week a bit like lethargic about it, like this is just so frustrating. And then I think what's happened with Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister, has really brought home that actually why we're doing this, and we know why we're doing this, but actually we're about to go through 2 very, very difficult weeks in relation to curves and hitting high and a lot of death and that. And you know, ultimately, this is the sacrifice we're all making to try and work through this. So keep doing it. Keep staying home. Keep trying to keep yourself mentally positive, whether that's through exercise or whatever you're doing, because we will come out the other side of this, definitely. Flex and Rants at 1 o'clock. I'm not on at 1 o'clock, but I will be doing my Manchester United career mode on Mark Goldbridge, That's Football, at around 2:30. If you want to join me for that, that's my release. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video and get your comments in below. Milinkovic-Savic, would you take him at United? Is he realistically an option? Jota, have I got it wrong on Jota? Have I got it wrong on Lingard? Do you think he does deserve another chance? Get your comments in below. I'll speak to you soon.